We welcome on stage Bart Enkelaar, that he's going to talk about SRE. I have heard him talk before. He is definitely an SRE advocate, and his enthusiasm contagious. Bart?
All right. Ready for some contagious enthusiasm? All right. Thanks for voting me here, of course, and welcome to this talk about site reliability engineering. First off, a little bit about myself. It's me, my lovely wife, and a random friend of ours. So I've been at bol.com since 2014. I work in the best offer team, which is in the data science department, which is an awesome place to work if you're looking for something new. I've been a software engineer on duty since 2017, which is it started as a software specialism support for off-hours operation, and now is also in the lead for 24/7 support for the cloud. And it's a bit of a proto-SRE thing, but not really. And now I'm part of the logistics and retail SRE. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? How do you like the background? It's for reliability. If you want one thing reliable, it's got to be a parachute, right? Okay, so first I'm going to do a quick introduction. I'm assuming no prior knowledge, even though everyone has, of course, seen last year's keynote about SRE. But like half of the people were here first time, so it's new for you guys. So this is for you. Then there's a quick overview of the concepts we're going to be talking about. Then we're going into practice. So I'm going to present an example service and going to go through the process of determining an SLO and SLI, what the error budget means, what all these individual terms means I'll come to later as well. That's in part 2. And then I'll provide some next steps, see what you can do as a team right now to jump onto the train, which leads to awesome land. All right. So first, what is site reliability engineering? As you may well know, site reliability engineering started at Google around 2004, 2005 already, at our big friends. And that makes it really easy to Google, so you get all kinds of awesome quotes. But the one I like particularly is this one. So, site reliability engineering seeks to balance the risk of unavailability with goals of rapid innovation and efficient service operations so that users' overall happiness with feature, service, and performance is optimized. So let's go through that together, right? So what it's saying here is that we need to balance the risk of innovation and operation so that in the end, with the ultimate goal of user happiness. And this happiness is really important because this is where it breaks from traditional operations models where stability was the purpose. But since, I mean, we're talking about happy users, so reliability is your main number one feature. If you don't work, it doesn't matter what you build. No one's going to love it. But users live in a changing world, so this innovation is important for users, for their happiness. And this means that in the end, it's really all about balance. Ooh. Another really good Googleable word. So one more quote. This one is a bit longer. I'll let you read it. But to me, this speaks to the spirit of SRE, because it's all about like dealing with failure and not just dealing with it, like celebrating it, encouraging it even. It's like, yes, we have a failure, and look, we found it, and this is awesome, because look at all these things that we've learning. It's about grabbing it by the balls and squeezing out every little last bit of learning so that you can make sure that it never, never, never happens again. And man, that's amazing. Right, okay, so the last quote I have is not this one, it's this one. That's from the guy who is the godfather of SRE, so I had to have him in here. I think this is a bit of a cop-out, but it's funny since I'm a software engineer. Right, all that about site reliability engineering. So what is the problem that SRE is trying to solve? Let's go into a little bit of detail. So, traditionally, we've had this issue where we had development who wants to release innovations quickly, and we've had operations that want to keep our system stable. And what do you do to keep our system stable? You change nothing. But development wants to change a lot quickly, so that was a traditional conflict. But we have a solution for this. It's called DevOps. You just let the developers do operations, and they'll feel their own pain, and that'll fix everything magically. Okay. So then there's also the business, and business wants to innovate in a VUCA world. Go to my other presentation to see what VUCA is. There's always this pressure, like, we need new things, and no, we need better things. And so there were conflicts there, but we fixed that. That's called agile. So now we have two things that we need to balance. Well, this is kind of the space where SRE comes in, and SRE tries to align this entire value chain of innovation to make them talk the same language and communicate better. So what is the same language that SRE introduces in order to align the value chain better and basically innovate better? That is, most importantly, what I'm talking about most now, is SLOs and SLIs. Yay, acronyms. We'll go into that in the quick overview of the concept. Right. So, we'll start with SLI, a service level indicator. The service level indicator is what metrics you can use to see if your system is delivering value. I think I did the animation wrong here. So, okay, we're gonna go over service level indicators, service level objectives, and service level agreements. You probably definitely heard of this last one. But the first two ones, the indicators and the objectives, are where SRE really shines. So this indicator is how can we tell if our service is delivering value, and then the service level objective is what values of these metrics indicate that our service is delivering value good enough, so that our users remain happy. And then the service level agreement is what happens if we fail to meet our objectives. So as you can see, there's this throwback here. The agreement talks about the objectives talks about the indicators. And as I've mentioned, we're mostly going to go into these two, because this is about bottom-up SRE. What can you do as a Scrum team? And this is like the easiest starting point to go to. Right. Because if you do this right, if you involve everyone in determining how you deliver value and where you get your value as a system, then this communication will be best. Some examples of SLIs and SLOs that you can think of are the golden signals, which are traffic, error, latency, and saturation, which you can think of as tells, because they tell something about the state of your system. So, right. So, into the nitty-gritty. The SLOs, the SLIs, and the error budget themselves. Let's start with a service. We have a service. Our service is called Donald. This is Donald. Right. So, let's look at the API quickly of Donald. Look, API, get it? Donald has like 3 endpoints. It can quack, he can quack it. He can buy chocolates for Daisy Duck, or he can beg Scrooge McDuck for more money to buy more chocolates for Daisy Duck. And so let's look at what we want from Donald. Like, we always want Donald Duck to be around. We want Donald Duck to quack, because he makes our lives better. So let's go for uptime as an SLO. Right, availability, SLI, sorry. So we've picked availability of the service. Now we're going into an objective. So we're going to go for 3 nines. Just this is important. So now we have this objective in 99.9% of the time uptime. The fun part that we can do is that we can turn it around. So if we take this 99.9% uptime in a month, we get 44.46 minutes of error budget. And this error budget, this is where we balance our innovation. This is where the magic happens. This is what we can use as the gas pedal of innovation, because we can choose how we spend this error budget if we keep track of it. So how will we spend this error budget? Well, maybe we need to do a release that has 15 minutes of downtime because we need to migrate a database or something like that. So we can do 3 of those. Now we know that we can do 3 of those in a month, and we can use that to structure the way we innovate. But there will probably be unscheduled downtime. By tracking this, by seeing this error budget every day, we can inform the decision we make on how much do we have to reduce tech debt to prevent this unscheduled downtime. But also, on the other hand, if we're not using any of those minutes, then we know that we're not doing it right. We can use our error budget to experiment. Maybe we need an entirely new table. Maybe we need a new database. Maybe we need to try a new feature that business provides. If your error budget is okay, your service is okay. So use it. Oh, right. There we go. Okay, so basically you can use the error budget as the gas pedal of innovation. I'm sorry about the watermarks, but I needed to use this slide. Yeah, okay, so next step. What can you do as a team? Pick up one of these books. They're also available online for free, and they're filled with much more amazing plans for doing innovation better, because in the end, that's what SRE is about, and SLOs and SLIs are just a small part of it. There's postmortems, there's transparency, and oh yeah, what I really wanted to go into, and haven't gone into, once you have these SLOs and SLIs for your service, they're not just good for aligning with the business, but they're also amazing for aligning with other teams, because your SLO can never be better than the SLOs of the services of the team, of the services that you're consuming. So by necessity, this means that if you define your SLOs right, you need to talk to the systems you're consuming and the people that are consuming you, which means that you can also define like a product SLO. And once you have that product SLO in line, this means you can make the switch from we have a latency requirement to something like a latency budget. Since we have it explicit, we can now like balance it with, say, business value, and we can explicitly put the latency where we need it most, which I think is something that could really be a good improvement of how we work together at bol.com. Right, so, sorry, I digress. Next steps. Define SLIs and SLOs for your service. Like, go to the workbook and find the chapter and just go through the process, because doing this provides not only insights into how your service works, but also how it is positioned in a landscape, and also how your business thinks about the value of your service. So just do this, it makes everyone's life better. Then align those SLOs with the teams around you. Visualize your error budget, because that way you can use it to as a gas pedal for innovation. Read the book, and don't read it at once. Don't make it a big thing. Has each chapter adds value on its own, and it's all available for free. So just read what you want and use it as a reference manual. And then once you've gotten all excited about all this awesomeness, just do more. Do blameless postmortems, do eliminating toil, do total transparency, and talk to your SRE team, which is us and quite a few of you I see. Maybe, who here is in the SRE pilot? right? So maybe stand up. Yay! Give him a hand. Woo! All right. Excellent. And there's many more. We're also in the site reliability engineering hip chat room. No, wait, that's Hangout these days. Sorry, Google. And just come talk to us and see if we can help you innovate better. And of course, visit Lars's presentation in, what is it, half an hour, which is in the Theater Café. And is also, it's gonna go even further into all the goodness that SRE brings you. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you. I think we have like half a minute for questions.
Yeah, let's have one question.
Okay, so one question. Anyone? Over here? Yeah?
Yeah, so these SLIs, these indicators, do you generally define them in terms of technical aspects, like uptime and availability, or in functional aspects, like maybe erroneous requests or unhappy customers?
Yeah, so really good question, and I'm not sure if everyone heard it, but I'll repeat it quickly. It's also to see if I understood it correctly. Do you define SLIs in technical aspects, or do you define them in functional aspects? And I mean, you asking this question is already a good sign of it working, because this is where you go and talk to your business users, and ideally you find the technical aspects that show the functional failings. And that does probably mean that you might need to do some more, like, because golden signals are all technical, but that's just the starting point. You really need to know, are we delivering value for our users? So talk to your business, talk to your users, and see what metrics you can find that indicates that they're happy. So ideally both. Cool. Well, thanks, and enjoy Spaces Summit.